Now, the interface of an Excel. Number one, we have the Excel home page. Okay. Now, in the Excel home page, let's quickly go to a new workbook. Okay. So if you want to open a new workbook, what you're going to see, this is called the Excel home page. And in the Excel home page, you get to see several templates that you could browse or you could choose from and work with. Okay. But in the course of this training, I will be selecting a blank workbook, all right, of which I will show you how it looks like, and then we'll proceed with the interface. So this is a blank Excel workbook, all right. Okay, but I don't need the blank. So after the Excel home page, you have the workbook, worksheet, and spreadsheets. All right. So what is a workbook? What is a worksheet? What is a spreadsheet? Now, quite a number of people do not know that there is no difference among them. Okay. Workbook, worksheet, spreadsheets, they are synonyms of the same thing. All right. So what I can call it a workbook, I can call it a worksheet, I can call it a spreadsheet. All right. So this entire Excel space currently now that I am in currently is an Excel workbook, an Excel worksheet, an Excel spreadsheet. All right. A workbook is a combination of different Excel sheets. A workbook is a combination of different Excel sheets. All right. So this entire place is a workbook. If I should have 20 Excel sheets, it is called a workbook. It's called a worksheet. It's called a spreadsheet. All right. Now the next is your title bar. Okay. So in the title bar, this is it here. You could see course 3 Excel. This is the title bar of this entire workbook. All right. It is the title bar of this entire workbook. You could see it. Course 3. If I should move between sheets, which I'm going to talk to you about, you will see that this course 3 is still there. Why? Because this is the title of the entire workbook. All right. And this is called your title bar. Okay. Then the next is the toolbar menu. All right. The toolbar menu. Other than the title bar, we have the toolbar menu, which you could see here. All right. The toolbar menu. Everything here is a toolbar menu. Okay. From this aspect down to files and all the rest is a toolbar menu. And under the toolbar menu, we have the quick access toolbar, which you can find at the top left corner of the Excel workbook. Okay, so you could see the save, you could see undo, redo, and the rest of them. All right, so let's say I want to type something. Let's say I want to type something. I type this and I want to save whatever this work now. Instead of pressing Ctrl X normal, I could go to the quick access toolbar and click on the save button, and you will see that this item will be saved. It is already saved. All right, and at the same time, I could cancel what I've done by by using Ctrl Z, which is to undo. But instead of clicking on Ctrl Z right now, I will use this quick access toolbar to undo. All right, you can see what I've written here has disappeared. And in the same vein, I could use redo, which is Ctrl Y, but I'm not pressing Ctrl Y now. I'm just using the toolbar, which is this, to do that. Okay, and then finally, you have the customization. You can decide to customize your quick access toolbar to suit you. All right, so some of the things I've added is new, save, undo, and redo. So okay, a new document is just for me to click here. All right, and the new document has been opened. Now, normally, in order to open a new document, you have to go to File, the File tab, and then click on New. All right, to open a new document and click on Blank Workbook. But instead of that, I have been able to add a shortcut here, which is a quick access toolbar to do that. Now, for another example, is if I want to preview this work in a print format, instead of going to Files and then coming under Print, and then I will see that, which is a bit lengthy or a bit, takes some time. I could quickly use that quick access toolbar and I've arrived at the same position. Okay, so this is how you can customize your Excel quick access toolbar. Customize it to suit you. And then in the top right hand corner, you could sign in, you could share this document, you could put your ribbon display options and all of that. But for now, I'm leaving that. You could minimize and all that, cancel and all that. Okay, so I don't need this. So I don't need this, and I can delete it. Okay, or I can undo. Then the next thing is your ribbon. Now, these are your ribbons: the files, the home, the insert, the page layout, formulas, data, and all the rest. Everything in here are ribbons. Remember your toolbar menu I told you about. So these things are called a ribbon. We have the ribbon tabs, which are file, home, insert, page layout, formulas, data, reviews, views, develop, and power pivots. Now, these develop and power pivots, some of you may not see this in your older version of Microsoft Excel. Let's say your older version like 2010 below and even 2013, you may not see this. You will have to add it manually yourself. Okay, but for the sake of this training, let's proceed. Then in every ribbon, we have the two bar groups, which you could also call the ribbon groups. We have the clipboard, we have the font group, we have the alignment group, number group, styles, and the rest. And in each of the tab, there are various groups you could see. Okay, like the insert tab, we have the tables, illustrations, add-ins, charts, tours, sparklines, filters, links, text, symbols, and all of that. Under the page layout, we have themes, page setup, scale to fit, sheet option, and arrange. So you could go through and familiarize yourself with each of these tabs and see through the groups in order for you to easily know how to navigate through your Excel workbook. All right. Then under that, we have the toolbar more option. These are the toolbar more options because everything could not contain. When you click on that, it directs you to where you could do more formatting and all of that. Okay, so we have the toolbar more option. In another thing, we have the toolbar more option, and then also we have the command tools. For example, if I want to bolding this, I'll just click on bold, and then you could see the effect on these toolbar more options. Okay, so these are command tools that I've used. The next is cells and address. Let's say I want to highlight, I want to put a different color to highlight this, and I want to highlight that, not the text. So I've changed the color. So cell and address, remember I use this. All right, the field color, this is text color or font color. All right, so this is the font color, and then this is the text, this is the field color. So I'll feed this now. You could see the cell and address. Okay, what is your cell now? Before I talk about the cell, how do you format? Can you change your ribbon? If you're asking that question, can I change the ribbon? Can I change what appears there? Yes, you can. By going to files, another files, go to option, another option, come to customize ribbon, and right there you could see the home, the insert, page layout, formulas, data, reviews, view, and you could see reviews, views, developers and the rest. Now you could see I toggle up the developer. If I should untick it, all right, I've unticked the developer. Let me untick the power pivot as well. So, and I click on OK. Now you could see that the developer and the power pivot are no longer on my toolbar. Okay, so that is how you customize. There are other things you can also customize, the groups and all of that. Okay, all right. So what is cell and address? Now this is a cell. Every one of these lines are cells. If I should click on this is a cell, this is a cell, a cell, a cell, and each cell has an address. All right, each cell has an address. Yeah, I want you to look as I click around. I want you to look at this part of the cell. Okay, so you can see it is changing: N5, O8, K9, K1, H6, and the rest of them. Okay, in the same vein, I could select more than one cell like this. All right, and this is called a range. This is called a range. So this particular address is G5. All right, you could see it on the column area. This is column, these are column, and then these are rows. Okay, in this column area you could see the G, all right, was highlighted, and then G5, G5, 5 on the row, and then G on the column. Okay, so this address is G5, this other address is H4, this address is I10, this address is C5. Okay, and I could select an entire row and an entire column. In order to select an entire row, if you say you should select it manually like this, it will take you so much time. Let's do that quickly. It will take you so much time. All right, so you can see I'm still selecting, and it's going down 200, 300, and a lot of that. So it is quite tasking to do that. All right, so in order to boycott every one of that and quickly select the entire row, you just right click at the top here and you've selected the entire row. And in the same vein, you could select multiple Excel rows by holding your control key and then just tapping like that. All right, so I'm selecting multiple columns now, and the same vein I could select rows as well, multiple rows as well. Okay, quite understood. So that is how you select your cells and address. Now, one thing I wanted to say earlier about your range, which I talked about earlier, when you select more than one cell, you're selecting a range. Now, this particular range starts from F5. All right, F and then 5, and you could see that particular spot is showing white instead of the highlighted color, which is a bit darker, which is I would say an arch. All right, so it's starting there, and that is why it is like that. Even if there is data, it will produce this to you. So you have F5 and then F5 column. Now you could use column to address your cell. F5 column, and finally the other part is O14, which is the end. Now I've told you of cell and address. Now let's check the sheet tracker. Okay, so these are your sheet tracker. All right, so with this now I know that this particular sheet is introduction to Microsoft. This sheet is operators in Excel and all of that. Finally, you have the sheet size. Okay, now this sheet size you could see it at this other end. Now this sheet size you could enlarge using your zoom, which is this, and then you could make it smaller depending on the data that you've imputed into your Excel workbook. In order to add a new sheet, you just come to this plus icon here and add a new sheet. By clicking on it, you add a new sheet. All right, so what if you want to name a sheet? If you want to name a sheet, you can double tap on the sheet and then you can rename the sheet to whatever you want to name the sheet. In the same vein, if you don't want to tap, you can right click on that and go to rename and quickly rename the sheet, that particular sheet. And then another thing you could do, you could format your sheet by adding color. You right click on the sheet, and then you go to tab color, and there you change the color of your sheet. You see, if I should leave there, you see the color properly. You right click and then delete the sheet if you don't need it. So with this, we've come to the end of the overview of your Excel workspace. Now, quickly, how do you save your file? Come to File, and then you go to Save As, and you come to Browse or whatever. If you want to save to OneDrive, you save to OneDrive. If you want to add a place, you add it. So with this, we've come to